Pick 6. I know how you feel. I don't even want to get into to Jalen Carter, to be honest. But you're Brad Holmes. What's the move, man? Where are the Cards playing? I don't see any free agent moves happening anytime soon before the draft.
Right.
You're looking at an interior lineman, some secondary players, cover your ass for potentially Gardner Johnson re-signing, or maybe not. Maybe he goes and gets paid somewhere else. To me, the Lions are gearing up to win now. They're gearing up to win this year and then build on it with all the draft picks they have. So this is going to be fun. Let me ask you this. Pick 18. Best case scenario.
Yep.
Give me the position. Secondary?
Yes. I would say the best case scenario is a secondary player.
You get your D lineman at 6.
Yes.
It's secondary.
Yeah.
So we're not touching offense.
Now, there's 2 ways you could go about this. Jalen Carter, we talk about him all the time, but if he's the pick at 6, and this is what I want to talk about first, too, the 6th overall pick. And Terry mentioned this yesterday on Big D Energy. You can go back and watch. He said in past regimes, he always was for the Lions trading out of their current pick. It's different with Brad Holmes because we have so much confidence in where he's picking and who he might take that it might be better to stay put and take the best player available, which could be a Jalen Carter, could be, whoever it is. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you trust Brad Holmes. As much as I would love a trade-out scenario, I just don't think it's realistic unless one of those quarterbacks fall to you. If someone trades up to Arizona and 4 quarterbacks go in the top 5, and that's not even including Seattle, which has been rumored to take Anthony Richardson, who knows? You're sitting there at 6 with defensive players available that you probably could get similar value at 10, 11, 12. So I don't think it's realistic to trade back if those quarterbacks are gone. So Brad should stay put, take the best player available. To me, it's Jalen Carter. If you disagree, that's fine, whoever it is, and you're going to be off and running. Now at 18, the best case is one of those corners to be there, but I just don't think they will be. So again, they could. Every year we see these things, guys fall in the draft, but to me the best case scenario is to take a corner or maybe a Brian Branch. I mean, I wouldn't hate that one either.
We got some questions rolling in. Hey guys, says Scott. Hey guys, would you trade back from 6 if all the great players are gone, but if Anthony Richardson is there and we get an offer, I might trade back, says Scott. Jeff, what do you think?
What was the question
great
again?
Players, I'd imagine he means Will Anderson, probably Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson, maybe.
Oh, he said, would you trade back from 6? All the great players are going to be gone if Anthony Richardson might get an offer. I mean,
I'm not sure his definition of great players, but let's just work off of that.
And by the way, if Anthony Richardson is there, then yes, maybe you can threaten. Teams can think you're going to take him, offer to trade up. But if Atlanta's there at 8, and they're like, hey, we'll just wait because the Lions might not take him. Who's at 7?
Vegas, they're not moving anywhere.
They're not taking Anthony Richardson, I don't think. So if you're at Atlanta, why would I move up?
I think every team is going to call the Lions bluff. They know the Lions are going to draft a quarterback.
Especially if it's just Anthony Richardson available. But again, who knows? I think you at least have to entertain offers. I just don't think it's realistic for the Lions to trade
trading back is the ideal scenario. If you can take a chance on a team that you think will be bad next year, maybe a Houston at 12, maybe Washington, maybe New England at 14, if you can try and pull that off, great. But again, my biggest problem with trading back 6, 7 spots into the middle of the first round is you're basically giving up your opportunity. And this is why I say Kancey at 6, by the way. It's not that I think he's worthy, quote, worthy in terms of prospect. He's not a traditional top 6 prospect. He's not. He is undersized. You're going to have the questions about his arm length, Fine, I'll give you that. And usually the guys in the top 10, you're looking for prototypical, 6'4", 320 pounds. He checks all the – that's usually what a top 10 pick is. Right. But when I sacrifice and trade back, I lose control of the board. And that's my biggest issue is where are you trading? How far back are you trading? And who do you think is going to be there? Because you lose all the control the minute you trade back.
Well, you have to be comfortable with probably, 3, 4 players if you're trading back. If you trade back, let's say, to Tennessee at 11, I believe they're picking, then, you're going to have to be comfortable with a couple players. I like Brad at 6. I think
stay at 6 and move up from 18 to 13 or 15 or 14 or whatever it may be. It maybe costs you a second and a future third.
Yeah.
At most.
Now, the positions you're probably targeting, if you're moving up from 18, I would say...
It has to be secondary. I don't think you move up for anything other than secondary.
Maybe edge.
But I think the edge guys are going to be there. To me, Gonzalez, Witherspoon, Porter, those Deontay Banks, to me, those guys are going to be between 10 and 15, 16. They're going to start coming off the board. Maybe not Banks and Porter, but for sure Gonzalez and Witherspoon.
Or, you could stay put at 18 and take a certain running back out of Texas.
How do you honestly, Jeff? Talk me through it. Let's say they pull the trigger. What's Jeff's thoughts? Because to me, it's like, where's the value right now?
Well, I think there's more value probably right now than, you
signed David Montgomery, who is one of the most elusive backs in the NFL.
He's a tackle breaker.
Like,
for
to
sure.
me, even if DeAndre Swift doesn't play this year, I've seen this team have a top 5 offense without running the ball effectively. Like, what they did well last year is in 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, goal line situations, they ran it well. That's it. But 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6 to set up the 3rd and shorts, they didn't run the ball well.
Right.
They weren't good at running the ball.
Right.
So why am I losing sleep when I had a top 5 offense without it last year?
Well, that's
to me, that is like really you're being very optimistic by making that decision, in my opinion.
But you just kind of made my point. The reason why I like Bijan is because they couldn't run the ball consistently. And again, last year it worked. They were a top 5 offense. But to assume they're going to make it work this year without having a steady run game, especially if Swift can't stay healthy, to me, Bijan, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, you could tell Swift, listen, you can either A, play, and if you get injured, get lost, or you could just sit behind Bijan Robinson, because let's be real here. As much as I like DeAndre Swift, Bijan Robinson day one is already better than DeAndre Swift. I'm sorry. It's the truth. So for Bijan, to me, it's more of a BPA pick. As much as you don't like running backs in the first round, you can argue Bijan's worth a first-round pick. He's that dynamic. And for him, with David, with this offensive line, you got him for 5 years at least. To me, it's worth it because there's no other running back worth it besides, Jameer in the second. But Bijan's by far the best running back.
You could
I
have
don't
sold
hate
me
it.
on Bijan at
I don't
6
hate it.
if Brad Holmes wouldn't have signed David Montgomery.
Are you serious? Bijan at 6, you'd be okay with?
No, not that I'm okay with it, but you could have sold me the narrative that, hey, the Lions are locking in on potentially taking Bijan because they didn't sign a running back, but they did.
But what if you can get him at 18 for cheaper money?
For what, though?
It's never bad to add.
You're paying him $15 million to be a running back for the next 4 years, on top of paying.
5.
Well, it is 4, and then the 5th-year option would be top-tier running back money, whatever it is. You're paying $15 million over 4 years, which is almost what you're giving David Montgomery. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's great.
I don't see Brad
Personally,
doing that.
I see a top 10 player, maybe top 3, top 5 talent. If he's there at 18, to me that's value, and it's worth it for a guy like Bijan with this offensive line. The argument to me, and as much as I don't like the wide receiver conversation, I understand it because you can tell me, Jeff, even though offense was their strength, why not add to a strength already? The defense they've built through free agency. They're going to continue to build through the draft. If you take Bijan, doesn't mean your defense can't get better. You could still address it later in the draft, but Bijan, to me, it's worth it for his talent and what he could do behind this offensive line for Jared Goff. Jared made the Super Bowl. Not saying he's Todd Gurley, but with an excellent run game, we know what Jared Goff can do.
This is going to sound crazy, but don't jump on me. Just hear me out, okay? What's the gap?
Yes.
What's the difference between Bijan Robinson, for example, and Tyler Algier or Kenneth Walker?
Upside.
Or, yes,
big time.
Pacheco, right?
Yeah.
But what if I find Isaiah Pacheco, Tyler Algier in the 4th, 5th round this year? Am I missing out by not getting Bijan, who, look, we had this conversation. Do you need Dalvin Cook in the NFL today? Do you need Derrick Henry? Do you need Christian McCaffrey? No, you don't. You just don't. It's not the NFL anymore.
Christian McCaffrey did wonders for the 49ers.
He did wonders, and then in the biggest game of the year, what could he do? Because they didn't have a quarterback who could throw the ball. At the end of the day, it goes down to the quarterback, the offense, the wide receiver.
I'm pretty sure he scored their only touchdown, too, if I'm not mistaken.
What does that mean? But
go on anyway.
Look, I'm not saying any team wouldn't die to. I would love to have Christian McCaffrey. But again, I don't want to pay a running back. I'm not interested in giving up assets for one, and I'm sure as hell not giving up a first-round pick for one. That's just me.
This is my thought process. You have David Montgomery. He's not an RB1. Let's be real. He's a guy you share a backfield with.
Is.
He's nice.
I think he could be an RB1. What's your definition?
Yeah.
To me, he's a clear RB1.
RB1 meaning you give him a majority of the carries, and he could be your bell cow. I don't think David's that. I mean, in the league, there's not really too many of those guys. Typically, you have 2 running backs in your backfield. If you have David Montgomery, great player, 800 yards a year, he's solid, contributor. Jamal had 1,000 last year.
All you need.
Swift, I can't depend on.
Fuck Swift. Who cares?
So you're essentially going into the season.
All you need running backs for is on 3rd and 4th and short situations. And here, I can't believe I have to say this all over again. I hate doing this. Guys, in today's NFL, You need running backs for one thing and one thing only.
Situationally.
Situational running. That is it. Situational running could come at the goal line, 3rd and short, 1st and I don't care what it is. You need them in a limited fashion. At the end of the day, your offense is a passing offense.
Built off of the run.
No, because
yes,
it wasn't last year. It wasn't
Ben
last
literally
year.
said verbatim, everything starts in the run game.
Yes,
Ben
in
and
an
Dan
ideal-
both said that. No,
in
not
every
ideal.
Offense,
it's factual.
Every offense that's what everybody says.
Right.
But the reality was they were an offense that was struggling with Swift out in the beginning of the year, and they still managed to air raid it out and put up top 5 numbers across the board.
Well, that you air raided out through the first half of the
Jamal
season.
Williams running effectively on short down
But
situations.
you're talking about the first stretch of games where Jared Goff looked awful.
What do you mean? He did not look awful.
All the pick sixes through 6 games?
Unlucky
he looked
with
good the
pick
second half of the
sixes.
season.
No,
Come on.
Jared Goff
Come on,
was the
Adam.
least of their problems in the first 7 games of the year.
The point I'm making has nothing to do with Goff. It's you talk about situationally. Yes, it's important. Now, if you can run the ball effectively with
and
a
that's
guy
why
like
you
Bijan,
signed David Montgomery.
Who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league in play action?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. What needs to happen for
have to
play
set up
action
the
to
run
work? You got to be able
situationally,
to run the ball. Last year, there was games where Jamal got 11 carries for 22 yards. There was games where they could not run the ball. I don't want to go out there and depend on David Montgomery.
That's why you signed David Montgomery.
You're
because
acting
he's
like David Montgomery is Saquon Barkley.
He's not, but he's infinitely better than Jamal Williams. Infinitely better. You want the luxury car, and I'm telling you, you can get by with a Ford Fusion.
An upgrade over Jamal, what does that mean?
Jamal is a Fiat. You're getting a, what? Ford Fusion. And David Montgomery.
Listen, David Montgomery
fine. To me is an
He's
upgrade
a nice
and
piece.
more than enough.
He's nice, but let's not act like we'll roll out and we'll win a playoff game on the back of David Montgomery. You're going to need help, and DeAndre, I don't trust. You're going to tell me you're going to roll out there with David Montgomery in a 6th-round pick. That's fine. You might be able to find an Isaiah Pacheco, but you might not. You might find a Jamar Jefferson. Remember Jamar Jefferson? You took him in the 7th round. Where's he at?
It's a 7th-round pick.
By point, Isaiah Pacheco was a 7th-round pick. So if you're going to give me Isaiah Pacheco, for every Isaiah Pacheco, there's a Jamar Jefferson. So at least you're taking by far the best running back in the draft at 18.
Spending a first-round
pick. To me, it's worth it. If there's a running back arguable for a first-round pick,
$18 million over the next 4 years.
It's still him. That's why, okay, if you don't like Bijan, that's fine. Oh, Jeff, Endon says, Jeff, have you ever watched David Montgomery? He's an RB1, not elite, but he's a workhorse. Listen, Endon, that's not what I'm saying. David Montgomery's good, but 800 yards a year, solid. But he's in today's NFL, you're not riding David Montgomery's back through a playoff game or through a regular season game.
And you're not going to do it with Bijan.
Exactly. You don't need Bijan to come in and be
That's my point.
20.
So why are you taking him in the first round?
Because them together. What would they do together? That is dangerous.
I just
that
don't
is
agree.
dangerous. What Bijan could do in the passing game, it is dangerous.
What's
but if you don't
next?
like it, you don't like it. I love it. I love it at 18. I think it matters. If you don't like it, I can't convince you.